come up in the minutes before, but like people walk through there and some people are opposed to it. So yes, you're familiar.
I've got your phone number. I'm gonna have the stormwater team contact you and
Yeah.
be a visit.
Yeah, okay.
I'd love to be able to tell you yes or no tonight, but.
Okay, no,
I
that's
have no
perfectly
idea,
fine.
honestly.
Yeah, today was like a perfect example of that. They ended up getting water near their garage
Okay.
already. And then the second thing is, there is that fence that's back there. From my understanding, it was installed by 2 previous homeowners, who are the residents that I reside in. But it's not mine, and I believe it actually sits on city property, and it's kind of unkept at this point. So I was just curious to see if the council can possibly put an agenda or a vote or put into consideration of just removing that fence altogether. Or, to be quite honest with you, another thing that I was considering was, being that the city doesn't do anything with that property, I'll take it. And I can manage it.
So does anybody else use that little strip of area you're talking about?
The alleyway, people use it as a pedestrian, right?
Pedestrian.
Pedestrian street. So it is what it is.
Well, it's people going to Mohawk.
Yeah,
You know who
people,
no, McConkey. And you know,
Yeah.
McConkey.
Yeah, it's,
His fence he's talking.
So with that being said, that is something that, yeah, yes it is. That is possible that could be closed, just for your purpose and.
I mean, I would gladly, if the city wants me to take the gravel off that's right next, that it is the city's property, the city can keep the alley, whatever works. But I know I probably have to get the other neighbors involved too, because they will have a right as well to the property.
Like, get a petition. Is it something that you maintain or do we mow?
The city does it.
Okay.
It's just out there in no man's land. No one's taking care of it.
Yeah, I only found out that gravel area was not my property about 6 months ago.
Okay.
It looks like about 10 properties actually touch up to that, at least touch up to that alleyway.
How many?
The alley,
At
yeah.
least 10
Well,
backyards.
the long one, but he's got the one like, there's
Right
this
behind
one
him,
too. There's this one and then the long one.
So it looks like your neighbor has a building on the alley, in the back alley.
Yeah, but that's a renter property. So yeah, that's the whole thing. There's a building on that alleyway. So technically it's not supposed to be there, right? Because it's the city's property.
It probably hasn't been surveyed in years.
I'm sure it
honestly.
has.
Yeah.
Can we look at that area over there, see how many people actually touch that, and maybe have a discussion, get back with Oscar on that too, Danny?
Appreciate it.
At the very least, since it sits on city property, we can have it cleaned up for sure, get the weeds taken
Yeah.
out and all that. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, nice to meet
We'll
you.
have, stormwater guys come over and take it. I'll give me your phone number,
Yeah,
and I'll shoot you a text to tell you
Yeah.
when and who's coming.
cool, cool.
Department updates are in your packets. I will say, interesting couple of hours today for storm purposes. We're very lucky that we didn't have a ton of damage, and first response was out there. Chief, we appreciate those guys, and then
Fire
Danny,
department role.
they did too. Yeah, I want to make sure to mention them, and also Danny and Steven's guys were out removing debris as soon as things calmed down. So the response was great. So please pass that along. Any questions on departmental updates or questions for the chief or public works?
She's been busy.
We're short.
Little bit,
You all been busy.
little bit.
We don't have old business, but there are a few items of new business, and the first is the consideration approval resolution for the addition of a new stormwater labor position. It's actually just not going to be a new position. In talking with Steve and Arthur, they're going to forego hiring someone in public works and make the transfer, so there's no new funds being used for the position. So do we need to vote on that?
Well, it's an FTE trend, it's a transfer.
Just a transfer?
And so it changes the budget from that standpoint.
To the
Number
other
of
department.
Authorized FTEs
Gotcha.
is gonna increase by 1 in the stormwater and decrease by 1 in the
Okay.
street department.
Okay, I have a question. Does this individual have a driver's license?
We have 2 people without driver's license currently.
Are we
They have
getting
given them
notice?
90 days to get their driver's license in order.
Okay, okay. And he's had background check and all that?
Yep, Chief and Greg Lucas did that all too. Went through the interview process like everyone else. So the transfers we need to vote on, we're moving one position out of one department into stormwater with no, it's a wash cash wise.
So the other department
The street department is
Street
losing.
department.
is
says-
losing a person?
This is by the department heads, or the supervisor, his own,
Recommendation.
his recommendation.
And didn't we used to just like switch them if you need me?
Well, they do
Yeah.
that too, but
We-
this will be a designated person to stormwater.
Jason McComas was elevated to supervisor of stormwater. We never had a supervisor in stormwater, the department,
Okay,
and he now is able to supervise things that are gonna be done there that don't require the public works supervisor to be on his team.
mm-hmm,
And so by moving somebody over, it allows Jason to have additional workers right at his fingertips.
okay,
And
makes sense.
that way we don't have to transfer street department guys every morning. Okay, you go over to help with Jason. This way it's just, Jason's gonna have two people under him to work on stormwater.
Okay, thank you.
So the vote tonight is not for a new position per se, but a transfer, and I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make the motion.
I'll say it.
Motion and second to make the transfer from Public Works to stormwater labor. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next item is consideration of approval for resolution for 24-03 for general fund budget revision number 4. John.
You have the budget revision in front of you. We have had increases, in different revenue areas. So the largest portion of that is from the reimbursements from the, Triton contract that the police have, which has also netted additional fines, fees, and court costs. One of the refunds that we have received of approximately a little under $31,000 came from money back from the DOH, from the, Equestrian Trail project. So we contributed 20%, came in below budget, so we got money back on that. The expenses, the recorder's office is for the software that we purchased for the new things that we're able to display on the website. The Housing Authority, they sent me 2 letters. Usually the letters went to the recorder's office, and last year's didn't make it through. So we processed the $4,000 for this year's budget, and it was dated 2024. And we've already processed it. What you have here is actually last year's request that never made it to my office, and so they requested that we go back and up that, well, not up it.
Give them their
Give
funding
them
we
the
didn't
funding
get
from
requested.
last year, and in order to do that, it's in the budget amendment, to increase the current allocation to 8,000 so that we can give them both years. The majority of the police department, well, it's all going towards the salaries from the Triton. The fire department we've discussed, is the increase for equipment. The other 3 areas are due to increases in just expenditures. The garage has been, there's improvements that have been going on to Depot Street, and so those have just come out of the supply lines for that. So that's the balanced budget. Are there any questions on any of those line items? Okay.
If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve budget revision number 4.
Make the motion.
Second?
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Last item on our regular agenda is the first reading of ordinance 2024-02 approving closure of Brady Alley on the first reading. And since it is the first reading, there is no discussion, so I entertain a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2024-02.
Make a motion, accept.
Motion and a second. Any further there's not discussion, so, you want a roll call this?
Please.
We'll do this by roll call by request. I'll start, yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. We'll have second reading in our next meeting. Brings us to the end of our regular agenda. We'll go to council for comments, and we'll start with you. I know you can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm so close to the table here, I'm just surprised. I was just wanting to, Danny, did you get an update on the sinkhole on 997 Samuels? Had you had a chance to go over there and check that out
I
yet?
have not had a chance to do that yet.
Okay, I
I've got it
was
on
just
my
curious,
list.
I was just curious if there was any findings with that. And along similar lines, there's, on 723 Elm Street, there's some water issues, and if you don't remember, it's the house on the corner, used to be the Talkington House. It's, right on the corner of Elm, I don't know what that alley is, maybe it all is Elm Street, but, there's some water issues there that, the resident asked me to see if you guys can take a look at it, see if you can do anything about it.
In the driveway.
It's
Where
off
Jack
the-
Hager used
yeah,
to
it's
live.
around, it's at the end of that driveway, I think it's been there for a long time, and they had dug something out or tried to ditch it somehow once before, and maybe it needs it again. That's all I got.
I've got a couple, so besides on social media, the neighboring cities events of the restaurant, there's been some talk about our park on social media, about the walkway between the turf fields and the horse ring.
Right.
So, I know I brought it up before, but there's no signage to even try to guide people to the walking gravel road that we've
I will
established
tell you,
there.
our board had a discussion about that, and then we'll be on their next agenda for that particular item. They had some concerns about safety issues on the road as well.
So I mean, basically people are complaining about traffic, but they're walking on a road meant for
yes.
vehicle traffic. So, I mean, it's speed limits are posted at 20. I just drove it just now just to make sure there was no signage, but it's very hard to stay at 30. It really is. Like it's just one of those roads that carries you. So, but I mean, it is not a safe place to walk your dog and ride bicycles. It really is not. So I think the more we can try to guide people to the trail we've established, it's in great condition. It's brand new. We spent time and money on that, and it's there to be used. I think we just need some signage to move people that way.
I like that idea. I will tell you that, I don't know if you talked to Sarge today, but I did get a chance to talk to Sergeant Bakers. They went out and did some speed patrol out there. We all see someone speed through the park.
Oh, and I'm sure people hit 50 through
It
there
is
too.
not
but
a
yeah.
question that we know some people speed through the park, but out of the number of cars that he radared out there, the average speed was 21 miles an hour. So there's more egregious ones for sure, but out of
Right.
the number of vehicles he did, the majority are actually staying close to what the speed limit is. Having said that, they're going to address it. Chief, if you want to speak to it. feel free.
Sure. Tomorrow, we were going to do it today, but the weather, we are going to put the spy bot back out there like we did. It was either last year or the year before, we put the spy bot out, and what it does, it will track the speed of every vehicle coming down there. It gives us data, it gives us average, it gives us, the times that we've got peak travel and everything. So we're gonna do that again and monitor. We're gonna closely monitor, and Gil McClanahan called me today. He's wanting to do a story. And I told him, I said, basically every year, we try to put it out for everybody, and we're definitely gonna keep an eye and monitor the situation.
I didn't know that was such a smart system to get all that calculation. I didn't know
Oh,
it was
yeah.
very good stuff. But yeah, like I said, there's no visual indicator that even exists. So if you're not truly looking for it, no one's going to turn to actually utilize that
Sure.
walking trail that we have. So and the more people can get off the roadway, the better.
Well, I think once we get the signage there, it would be great if Andre would do like a social media video to say, this is
Do
here,
kind of an update on it.
and just, then we can say what we told you.
And then on that, I know we got our new walkway coming down the hill all the way to the lake. But is there a way we could look at grant issues to do a
That's what
walkway
the park
on?
board
If we
had
can't get people to
discussed.
transition up in the woods there, I mean, which is not. It's a better walk if you ask me.
Yeah, that's what the
But
park board actually asked
if
about
we can
last
look at the
time.
grant.
Andre's supposed to come back to them with some options
Okay.
about a paved portion or paved off to the side of that trail.
Okay. And then on to the park, I mean, spring's wide open, the park looks great, tailbite, and the bathrooms are open and functioning for youth sports, and it's great. Everything's good like always, and our diamond is shining out there, so that's all I've got.
It's, really doesn't have anything to do with the village, but it does. I think we should, definitely appreciate our teachers today that had all the Cabell County schools on lockdown, and 28 kids in your classroom with their head between their legs and everybody screaming and crying. So I, being the mother of the teacher, touche to them for what all they had to do today. And somebody came to me with asking if we can raise the water things in the road because they're that much lower than the blacktop, but I think most of them that I see that's that is on state roads.
Specific spots or?
Yeah, just, they are kind of all over town. If you even see people drive and they know where they are, and they're just, it's where we've paved and we haven't raised the manholes. I know they're like,
They fixed probably 50, 60 of them over the last few years.
yeah, I think
If
there's.
there's
still
specific
some-
ones, let us know
I'll-
location.
I'll
We'll
get
have
the
a look at it.
specifics, but there's, I mean, I even do it, you know, especially there on, even on Main Street by the library,
If they're
everybody
hitting them, they're not
swerves
speeding.
over. What?
If they're hitting them, they're not speeding.
I'll
Yeah,
put
there you
some
go.
drape on- I'll
We
put
need
some drape
some,
on the
we're gonna
park
put some,
road.
we can take those manholes out to
Yes.
the park.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
know
if
there's
there's
specifically the
specific
one
locations, just
on
send
Main
it to us.
Street, kind of in front of the senior center, it's, everybody like even swerves out a lane to get it.
For the senior center?
Senior house.
Oh, okay, gotcha, Village
Housing
Manor.
authority, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, first of all, I thank you, John, for all your work you did on the budget. And Mark, I appreciate you looking over the levy information, so if you can get back with us on that.
I'm reading
that
it
way-
as we speak.
I figured that's what you're doing. Thank you all for coming tonight, and I'm really excited about Farmdale and the sidewalk. I mean, it's going to be really good. The trees were just, I mean, that just blew me away when they took those down, but it's going to be a good addition to our little town. Thank you all.
And I forgot to thank you for coming, and those are the kind of things that we like to hear about, things that we just oversee that, you know, we don't know they're there, and we appreciate you coming to us instead of going to social media.
I'm not a keyboard warrior.
Thank you.
I'm not a keyboard warrior.
We're pretty easy to work with.
Yeah.
I don't either, I'm good. Thanks everybody for coming. John, you wanna go ahead, yeah?
I forgot one thing. Are there openings on the park board?
Don't know, I'll have to look and see.
Is
I
that-
think
I
we
mean,
filled
I know
them, I think we
Patsy
filled them
Jack-
up, but
We have.
I'll,
Is there a chair, is there,
Robin Reed is the chair currently.
Robin, oh, okay. So someone was asking about, hey, how do you get on the park board?
Steve's maybe.
Steve,
Gold.
yeah,
He moved out of town here.
That's
recently.
true.
yeah.
That's the only one,
Yeah, so how would someone go to, if they?
I mean, we've asked for interest, so if you have somebody that's expressed interest, tell them to come in and say something.
Okay.
We did have a few people that have asked about that, but the board was full at that point too. And, we'll go back and circle back to the
Might-
ones
might
that
be
we talked
something
to, I
to
think
put in
Paul
the
talked to
newsletter.
somebody before,
Uh-huh.
so.
Might be something to put in the newsletter too, if somebody, get the best candidate or whatever.
Pay's not great, right?
Right.
You guys good over there? We'll adjourn the meeting, thank you everybody for
Oh, wait a
coming.
minute.
Tornado watch, just went back into effect till 2 AM, just so you know.
Thank you.
And we have people on call tonight too, just out of abundance of caution, and that's me on the ready. All right, thank you guys.
We'll probably-